So does the DMR, Diamatis, or MAC-10 have you feeling like this?
I'm literally getting shot from the other side too.
Yep.
Bro, dude, the f***ing DMR, literally the worst f***ing meta ever.
They have Claymores.
Bro,
They have Claymores.
genuinely f*** the DMR. Yeah, not my proudest moments, but maybe you're like me. Well, the upside is that it's almost guaranteed that this meta isn't going to be around forever, and chances are not very long. The downside is that we don't know when that's going to be. We don't know how long it's going to take for these changes to happen. But while the end of days is near for the DMR, MAC-10, Diamatis, and such, what's going to be reigning supreme next? Today, I want to talk about some of the weapons that nobody's talking about, some sleeper weapons that are incredible that you should definitely be trying out within Warzone, and get the jump on here so that come the next meta, you're set and ready to go. As we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Have you tried any of these weapons out so far? Do you have anything that you'd add to this list that you think are some underrated weapons? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're on that road to 400,000 subscribers, and we'll keep you up to date with all things Warzone, Cold War, and anything COD related. So if you're interested in joining the community, I'd love to have you. But said, let's talk about these underrated weapons. Today's video will range a few classes, from SMGs to LMGs to tac rifles to snipers. We've got a lot to cover, so let's start out with a few of my favorites here. Firstly, the Bullfrog. To me, this is kind of the Bison for Modern Warfare, but even better. The damage profile seems to have a little bit more of an edge, and thus, if you rank it up fully, you've got a killer weapon on your hands. It's agile and built for mobility, it packs a punch and can down players rather fast. It's got an easy to control recoil, minimal on the pattern, ammo at its base is incredible, but has great ammo modifications as well. I mean, you toss on a 65 round speed mag and you can count me in with that. That's more than what you see in most rifle magazine modifications, so you're good for multiple engagements here. If you are somebody that likes to rush around within Warzone, maybe take an SMG and a sniper for that close and long range engagements, this is fantastic. I definitely think that you're going to win a ton of gunfights here with this one. Again, once everything calms down with the Diamati metas and the MAC-10s, once we see some adjustments to that, this actually may be one of those ones that goes and pulls to the forefront of those weapons that you'll want to use. Next up is going to be another weapon that I think is going to very much so pull away and become one of the forefront of the next meta, at least in close quarters play. SMG engagements, that being the Fennec. This thing is a slightly less powerful MAC-10, but it actually did just recently have a buff to it in the last few weeks, increasing the damage range, so it's better at a distance compared to what it was before. But this thing is great as a bullet hose. You'll need that 40 round drum mag to be competitive with it, and maybe even the deadfall barrel to have that sound suppression and also added range that it can afford. But this thing then turns into a shredder. The rate of fire will burn through enemy armor. That damage range increase will make it great for the CQB engagements. The only real downside is that whenever you have that rate of fire and the ammo available, it may be tougher to land multiple gunfights in one go. It's one of those things where you may be able to pop an enemy, down them, finish them off, and then maybe try and finesse another player that may be chasing you while reloading so that you can end up getting more ammo back in your weapon and get right back into the action. Being that 40 is the max you'll end up seeing in terms of ammo modifications, again, it just doesn't afford you a lot of rollover between one enemy and the next unless they're right on top of each other, just simply because of that rate of fire and the limited amount of ammo you have. But that's one that's absolutely fantastic, and I definitely think will be worthwhile in the upcoming meta. Another one that is very interesting to me here is the FFAR. Now, this one is a weird one, but I think will be a weapon that we see emerge in the upcoming meta for a couple of different reasons. Not because of its overall power comparative to other rifle play, but instead as an SMG as of sorts. If you remember back whenever the FAL was kind of meta as a secondary for close quarters engagements, think of this in the same sort of mannerisms. The FFAR's damage profile is actually on par with other rifles, but the lowest of those categories. But that's because of its rate of fire. It's that counterbalance here. The FFAR has a damage profile of 28 per shot, as opposed to 30 of the XM4, 32 of the QBZ, 35 of the Krig 6, and 38 of the AK. So if this is the lowest of damage outputs for Cold War rifles, why are we talking about this? Because that rate of fire and the fact that it's almost a whole 200 RPM higher than any other Cold War rifle is something that makes it incredibly special. So the key to this is not going to be using it for long range play, but instead using it for close quarters play, maximizing on that shorter max damage range by gutting players with a fire rate that is tied for second best in the fire rate category for all Cold War weapons, coming in only behind the Diamatis and tied with the M16. So you've got this weapon that will shred in close quarters if you hit your shots. So for that reasoning, I'd take this in relation to a longer range weapon, like Overkill with a sniper or so. A class that I'll be playing around with here is probably the FFAR Overkill with the Kar 98K, Tundra, or AX50. The next weapon I want to talk about is the Type 63, and unless there's a weapon tuning pass across the entire board for tac rifles, I'd easily bet on this one being the next DMR 2.0. The only upside to kind of recreating the DMR again here, if this doesn't get adjusted as well, is that the Type 63 has kick and recoil that is wildly more apparent than that of the DMR, no matter how you kit it out. You're almost better waiting for the weapon to recenter instead of trying to spam it, because if you do, your aim's going to be going sky high and you can kiss that accuracy goodbye. But this again, just like the DMR, is going to be a weapon that has extremely powerful kill potential, being 2 to 3 shots on players, so if you are accurate, you can absolutely shred through enemies like they're absolutely nothing. Plus, the weapon build can be almost like the DMR in every way, though the one thing that always caught me as odd is why there's a 38 round mag instead of just a 40. Why not making it an even number there with that? But things like the titanium barrel, the GRU silencer, the 3x optic makes it feel very similar to the DMR. So if you try this out now, you'll definitely still find some success, but it is something that, again, unless there is across the board adjustments to the TAC rifles for Cold War weaponry, this thing may be the DMR 2.0 in the coming weeks. Before we continue, I'd like to tell you about my good friends over at Artesian Builds, a PC building company that I've been working with recently and some of the greatest guys I've met in the industry. If you're looking to get any of the large amount of new hardware that was released over the last couple of months, like the new AMD CPUs, the new 3070, 3080, or even 3090 GPUs, and much more like custom etched glass casing, and even the ability to watch them build your PC live on stream, they've got you covered with the best quality and service. What you're seeing is a little bit of what is dubbed the espresso machine, the custom powerhouse running the show here for all the daily uploads and streams. I know the PC components can get expensive, but if you're at all interested, you can get $100 off your next build with code ESPRESSO. Check the link in the description below. The next weapon I want to talk about is one that I really didn't consider at first whenever we first started talking about the best weapons in Cold War, but it's definitely a sleeper when it comes to Warzone. That being the Stoner. This thing is kind of an unsung monster of a weapon. I don't want to get too far ahead with this just yet, but I think there may be potential that at some point this could turn into another Bruin from Modern Warfare, that meta that we had there. You kit this thing out for mobility and damage output, and you're good to go. Assuming they fix the Task Force barrel, that'll be a force to be reckoned with mixed attachments for agility. That'll just be a nice loadout here for this. This thing can output at a nice rate of fire, it packs a punch naturally as an LMG, and that increased damage profile comparative to other weapons and classes means that it can more than hold its own. The only thing that I will say is that it does have some hefty vertical recoil if you don't have the proper grips on it. I know when I was first playing with it, I wasn't fully ranked up with it just yet, so I'd highly recommend taking some time playing some Cold War, playing some Plunder with some double XP tokens or something for your weapon XP, and ranking it up to the max level so that you have the opportunity to end up getting all that you need to kit it out as best as possible. The next weapon we'll talk about is a sniper rifle, and we're actually going to close out this video with 2 sniper rifles here with this. The first being the Tundra. And this one reminds me a lot of the SPR with some attachments, and you can make this thing almost nearly hit scan. Not quite, but very close, meaning that your bullet lead time is going to be minimal. Now, I said this reminds me of the SPR because 1, it sounds exactly like it, and 2, again, that barrel bug in Season 6 with the SPR's introduction made the SPR hit scan. This is, again, very close to that, so if you are accurate, if you are somebody that can kit this out properly with the right attachments, you're going to have a ton of success with this weapon. Not only is it powerful, but again, it's easy to use, easy to pick up here because of those attachments, so you could be a veteran, somebody that loves to snipe all the time and as a marksman, or you could be somebody just playing around with snipers for the first time here after ranking this up. Doesn't matter, you can still do well with it, and that's one of those ones that I definitely take for long range. I was playing around a little bit with the SMG sniper loadout here for this as of recently, so I'd recommend maybe say the Fennec, maybe say the Bullfrog as well. Though of course, if you do want to play the current meta, the MAC-10 is still great for that also. I wouldn't take the Diamatis right now because that's a little bit too close quarters for what you'd want to counter with a sniper. You have the severe extreme ranges here at that point of close and long range. But the final weapon we'll close out this video here with is reliable itself for quick shooters, the Kar98K. Now this is one that's a bit of a crossover because I did put it on my top 10 list here still, because I think it is perhaps one of the best weapons for those that like to get in and out of the action, like to be able to shoot quick and still have some of that agility, but being able to be the marksman that it affords you. The Kar98K though is not a new weapon, but with all the weaponry we've seen recently in the ways of Cold War's integration, naturally some of the weapons from Modern Warfare have been pushed to the side. The Kar98K, one of those weapons that I think will become a staple of loadouts once again, once the current meta is cleared up. Its best-in-class mobility and handling mixed with the one-shot headshot kill potential, the Kar is without a doubt still one of the best weapons for marksmen. So if you trust your shot, absolutely go for it. But that's where we're going to wrap it up here. That's a couple of weapons that I don't think anybody's really talking about all that much and can absolutely do you some great work within Warzone. So if you guys want to try a weapon that isn't the meta, try any of these weapons. I think that once this current meta of the DMR, MAC-10, Diamatis, once it's run its course, I think these weapons will then be able to shine a little bit more, and you'll probably start to see them a lot more. So get that jump start while you have the opportunity to here and play around with some of these weapons that I think can do you some good. That said, love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below as well. If you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 400,000 subscribers, and we'll keep you up to date with all things Black Ops Cold War, Warzone, anything COD related. So if you're interested in any of that, hit that subscribe button. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Frankly, on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.
We'll be right back.